welcome back to another exciting episode of the Roselyn Omaka Show. And I am back again with the beautiful Sara Alavi. And I'm pretty sure people, if you didn't watch it, you need to watch that movie. You want to talk about how we met?
Oh, yes. Okay, because we instantly vibed like once we met. But
yes,
it was the last time that I came here. You were interviewing the entire cast for the film The Reading.
Yes, and we were having too much fun behind the scenes, and Courtney was going to kill us if we didn't get...
There was going to be a death. Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, man.
Like chatty Cathy's.
So, like, you did that movie, which was awesome. That was amazing. Congrats on that. And I know that you also had some really great humanitarian projects with, for refugees and the documentary and the information. What else are you working on? Like now?
Yeah. So you mentioned the reading. I just want to give a shout out to Courtney because we wouldn't even know each other. I wouldn't have. Yeah. And that's true. Courtney Glade, you guys, writer director of The Reading. If you don't know, you should watch it. And then documentary film that I'm executive producer of, What Do We Know About Refugees, with my co-producers, my amazing girls, Sara Alavi and Margaret Thibs. I love them. And focused around refugees and forced migrants and statistics and misconceptions around refugees and forced migrants, asylum seekers, and then also sharing their stories, their very profound stories, and a lot of other projects in the works as well. I think that's a passion project. That's from the heart. That's the passion project. I always want to do passion at the same time. But with acting, I had some projects that came out this past year. I had Poor Herman, Frankie, The Squad, and we have some stuff coming up as well.
You're a busy woman.
A busy woman. I'm a little busy.
First of all, before we dive into anything deeper, I am just curious of how do you keep all this together?
Oh my God. And we had this conversation before too, just girl on girl, like girls, but it's just like picking priorities and then kind of figuring out how to kind of establish what to focus on at the moment so I don't go into overwhelm. And then just as long as you have your heart at your center, and that's your focus, then it's like everything goes so smooth and like easy. One thing leads to another, and that's just the creative world for you. So it's like being a creative. Once one thing kind of pops in your head, right? Then it's like you can kind of spin off that one and it goes to the next realm. But that's, I just keep it together by just keep going and just having fun with it. Have fun or quit, right? That's what acting coach Sue Hamilton says, you guys.
We are not quitting because we're not living a life of regret.
Never. But always have fun.
So like all these, you're listing all these different movies and films that you're doing just this year alone. So I guess my question for you is, which ones are your favorites? Do you have a favorite out of all of them?
Oh, okay. I do. I don't know if I'm gonna get hopefully I don't get slack. What do you call it? Slack or flack? What do you call it for it? I do have some favorites, but everything is beautiful in its own way and everything's, great. I have a favorite, and this is because me and my sister Lisa were able to be the lead actors together in a film called Confessions that is planned to come out later this year or early 2024. Okay. So release date still has not been released.
Coming soon, stay tuned. We'll be dropping an announcement.
Yeah, but that's probably my most exciting film that, you always have. Acting is acting, and when you love what you do, you're always going to enjoy it. But then there's always that project that sparks a little bit extra something in you. Yeah. That just ignites your soul, and that's that, and it's partially, it's a combination of all of the above. Obviously I do it with my sister, and which is a cool little story behind it I could explain, but Lisa and I are the lead, literally one person. We play a psychotic individual, so we are all over the place, and then we get to do it together. We work with an incredible, one-of-a-kind director. I just love him, Les Gaddis. And
I'm sorry, y'all are playing one person?
Yeah, we were playing one person. Yeah. So this is how it happened.
I'm listening.
What's very interesting, exactly. Yeah. What's very interesting is so I auditioned like a year prior to when they decided to, draw the line for casting and then get into pre-production and yada yada. And it's one of those things where you audition and then you put it away, but it's like on your heart. You're like, man, if I get anything, I hope I get this one, because you're always auditioning but this one really stood out. Like I had a passion for this. Like, and I told Lisa about it. I told my family about it. I'm like, I really, really would love this role. But then, you don't hear back and you just kind of put it aside. You already sent in your auditions, did your whole shebang. And you're like, well, it's been a year. Haven't really heard from anyone. And then boom, out of the blue, I get a phone call from director Les Gaddis. And Les calls me and I'm like, hello? And he's like, this is Les Gaddis, with Confessions. And I was like, oh, hi. And he said we had thousands of people audition and yada, yada, yada. And it was like, I'm like, okay, wow. Okay. And then he's like, and we would like to offer you the role, but it gets better. We would like to offer you the role. But we did our due diligence and we researched your sister and we saw how of an incredible actress your sister Lisa is, and looked into her agent, her reel, all of her work. And the fact of the matter is the main character is psychotic and is all over the place with multiple personalities, right? And so he said, so I would like to offer you the role and I would like to offer your sister the role as well. And so you both play the same individual. Wow. So the cinematography, the special effects, everything's going to be so cool. And Lisa. So
I'm like already trying to visualize this. You're saying special effects, y'all.
Yeah.
Like
and also and there's a lot of dimensions of the personalities. There's multiple personalities. There's also not to give too much away, but we did, learn and pull together different accents and languages as well to, pull apart different parts of the individual.
Wow.
And so Lisa and I studied together and then being able to do it together, just really made it special. Really, really made it special to do. And not only was it a beautiful challenge, I think as an actor, you always want to be challenged. Yeah. Like you always want to feel like you're learning, you're growing, you're doing something big. You're pushing yourself, pushing your limits because you know what you're capable of, but sometimes you need that opportunity to say, I can go past, I can run that marathon, right? But yeah, and that was this film and working with my sister and working with Les Gaddis and his entire team, it was just the most fulfilling experience. And I have to say, it's my favorite. I mean, it's going to be my favorite.
Can you low key share anything else about the movie? Are you allowed to? If not, I will be asking you to come back because this sounds really cool.
Might have to come back because I have to we did get partial thumbs up from Les Gaddis, the director producer, and but other than saying it's a psychological thriller and it's me and Lisa and we're multiple personalities, that's pretty much what I can say at the moment.
No, that sounds exciting. You should be proud. And I'm actually even thinking about all the work and preparation that you had to do for the film. Can you even say the language you had to try, a new language?
Oh, okay. So what's really fascinating, and Lisa will tell you, so Lisa speaks fluent French. And I studied French for a little bit in college.
Same, yeah.
Yeah.
In high school, college, my family, yeah.
Yes, and you can pick up once you start doing it again. But Lisa was even helping me because I was starting to do it on my own, and then she's like, "No, let's fix that conjugation," and she would help me, and she's perfect at it. And so French, French, and then Farsi, which is the native Persian language. So we brought in different dimensions of the character. And then New York, of course, we did a little New York accent, brought that in there, a little bit of Brooklyn, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, so.
This is cool. So I am really curious, all of this work that you're doing, how long have you been acting now?
Oh, okay, well, film acting or stage acting, because I don't know if I told you where I began, but yeah, no, I did stage acting for a very long time. So and that was
in high school
theater.
And
for about 10, 15 years. So high school but way after high school. So then, community theater, and then I went to Jones Hall, and then, so that was a lengthy, experience of a lot of different productions. But what's interesting is like I didn't transcend into film until, I had this. It happened every year. It happened every year because I was a musician growing up, and I was like set on, I have to do music. This is my love. This is everything I want, and I will not convince myself anything otherwise. Like I was a very set in stone type, and then I was doing musical theater. But every year I'd watch the Oscars every single year, and every single year I'd have the same like gut feeling every single time I'm supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Feeling. And I was like, why do I have that feeling? Like I wanted to have that feeling on the Grammys. Like I was like, why? And it's not that, and I was like, I didn't want to give acting a chance. And then I gave acting a chance, and I love it like probably even more. Like it's just remarkable because it's like when you open your heart and your spirit to like allowing new creative realms to like kick in, and it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I could love that just as much or more than I love something I've started doing from childhood.
Yeah.
And it blew me away. Like, and it's not nothing is an easy craft, but when it's fun and you love it, you're always learning and you're always growing. And and so I'm grateful for that, like listening to your gut and listening to your, divine intervention kick in. And then once I did that, it's been like 4 years.
You took action.
It's only, I took I took action. And then it's been like 4 years, and I would say that I
all of this is like for film 4 years.
4 years for film. Before that was like 15 years of theater, and so literally it's been a very small pocket of film.
But you've been putting in work.
I've been putting in work, and the universe just provides, like,
it's not an accident,
and it's just go. It's not an accident. It's like I knew what I needed to do. And when I made that transition, I was open to it, and I received it, and I allowed myself to be in that new creative space. Then 4 years later.
So fascinating that you're saying this, because, I have a similar background, just singing all the chamber choirs and the musicals.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, singing. Yes. So some of you that know, And, but like family pressure, medical school, all that stuff. And then it's like, okay, I quit the choir, and it's just crazy because, even sitting down here talking to you, it's like, what's going to happen in the next 5 years, let alone 2 years? Because I didn't want to be on the camera. Like, I didn't want to at first.
I remember you telling me that. And you're like a natural.
But the thing is, you get nervous with people's opinions and everything they have to say because the internet is mean, or
you just have to take it and just...
Yeah, you kind of just you take action. And then some people, they just wait for the right moment.
Yeah. And I think it's like once you, and because you're such a natural and you're so beautiful at what you do, it doesn't matter what anyone said. None of that ever matters. Like, it's like once you get it, you get it. Like, you just go, and you just enjoy yourself. You love what you do, and nothing negative has any impact.
Yeah. Like, I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to learn every day. You're learning every day. You're doing beautiful in the process. And it's like, if you mess up, start over, do it again. And when it comes down to even like this movie and other projects that you have, what would be an amazing film that you dream of being on? All this work that you've been putting in, you're still putting in work.
Right.
What would be like the ultimate film that you would love to be like featured in?
So what's interesting that you're saying this is that I haven't seen a whole lot of things lately that I would throw myself into like passionately. Me and Lisa, we loved the 90s growing up and all the romance movies, and not just the romance, but the thrillers, and a lot has changed over time. I would say anything with Scorsese or Leonardo DiCaprio would be like an end all be all. I mean, I really would,
he's an amazing actor.
But honestly, like the past like year or two, I've been writing scripts myself because I realized that, I always want to challenge, and I always want to see where I can go next. And seeing the side of the industry, being in front of the camera is beautiful and fun, and I love it, and I still want to do it forever. But also being behind the camera, being a producer, you call the shots. You pick and choose your team. You pick and choose your comfort, the people that are respectable on set, the people that show up and do the work, and your A+ team. And I really just want to do a lot more production moving forward. I want to choose the types of stories that I tell. And I want to always try to choose a story that would otherwise be untold, or that would make some kind of a statement or difference in society. Even if it's like brief, like through a thriller or through this, that's the kind of stories that I desire to write and to produce and to share. Well, and obviously comedies and all. I love writing everything. But I would say when you ask that question on what's my end all be all, is I really do have some ideas in my mind and on paper that I have written and created that I would love to bring to life. And I would be very satisfied and proud of that work, as in all that I do. And I would be satisfied with me telling those stories. So I wouldn't say that I have this desiring goal to like, I have to be here, I have to be there, I have to be in this, or there's directors I'd love to work with, there's actors I'd love to work with. But I know that in divine timing, everything works out beautifully, and what's meant to be is going to be for the greatest good of all, right?
Yes.
So
patience,
all I can do, exactly, patience.
And you're working. I'm not going to just say you're just sitting around waiting for that moment to happen. You're actually putting in the work. And then when that opportunity comes at the right time, you've put in all of that work and prepared. That's how I feel. Sometimes you see other people, it's like, man, it's like, let's stop doing the comparison game. But when it comes down to like, what can you do? Like, whether you believe in God or a higher power, like, everything has its perfect timing, and it prepared you for that moment when it came.
Oh, totally.
And I feel like even with you, like, yes, you have been doing this for like 15 years, but you have been preparing yourself for over a decade.
Since childhood. And it goes back to a very, very long story, but that's a whole nother day and time of where it all started. I almost lost my voice, and when I was 12 years old, and that's when I was like, when you go through therapy and you get it back, and you're like, I'm gonna push even harder to be like a singer. I'm gonna and I'm gonna work really hard to just fulfill my be a voice for the voiceless, but that's a whole nother story. But what popped in my head when you were saying all of that, and I'm so sorry, you said, okay, obviously I said, you asked the end all be all in films. Okay. Because I came from a theater background, musical theater, there are some musicals I would like to see on the big screen that I would like to be a part of. Ooh. So I can't lie about that. I can't, there's some specifics.
Are you going to say something for the camera in case if somebody sees it? You never know.
I would love to, because I saw some pre-productions out there on IMDb. No, I'd love to play in Jekyll and Hyde. And then I'd also love to be in Guys and Dolls. I've already done Guys and Dolls like 2 or 3 times on stage. And so I'm like, oh, I'd love to do it.
Are y'all paying attention? I will make sure that the closed caption is bigger, so that way y'all can
note that. Whoever's fine.
I like the fact that you're working on all these amazing projects, and I can't wait to see Confessions, because I think that right there, do you feel like this project, Confessions, is going to be your most challenging because of all the different personalities and languages?
I would say that's a good question. I would say it was the most challenging in its criteria and how difficult it could be, but because I enjoyed it so much, it wasn't a challenge, if that even makes sense. I think it was probably, if you look at everything I've done, I think it was probably the hardest thing to learn and to absorb, and to be able to do, switch personalities, go from crying to laughing to languages and this, like, it had just so much. But because it was so much fun, and I did it with Lisa, my sister, and I just felt like it was almost like the hardest, easiest project.
Did y'all dye? Wait a second. Y'all have 2 different. You're blonde, she's brunette. Did y'all dye your hair for the movie?
Oh no. So we have so many mannerisms that are the same. That's why honestly, when I go out with Lisa, like we get two things. Like, either somebody says we look like twins, and I think it's because she's very extroverted, and she thinks she's not extroverted, but she's like more extroverted than I am, and so that's a whole nother story. But that when we go out, like, someone's like, either y'all look like twins except different hair colors, or they're like, y'all are like best friends because y'all like have the same vibe. And I'm like, Twins. Yeah, I'm like the big sister. You can tell because I'm like twins. I'm like so proud.
No, this is exciting. I really want to see it. I'm a little impatient now, so I'm gonna need info in the tea ASAP, and don't stop. That's all I gotta say. I know you're not, but just keep going, because as another woman that's in this media space, and I'm paying attention to you just as much as you admire me, I admire you, and I know many other people are going to be paying attention and watching. And there are young women that I know that are watching, not just in America, but also in different countries, like in Africa, that have really big dreams. Beautiful. Wherever you are, like, don't stop. Don't be scared.
And the biggest thing I would say is, when it's scary, that means you love it. That means it's worth it. You have to get out of that comfort zone. Nobody ever grew in the comfort zone. And I could speak for myself, but it's nerve-wracking and it's terrifying and it's exhilarating at the same time. When I would first go on stage, I had like this, you know what I mean? It's scary. It can be terrifying to have change. To go step into something that you've never done before or try something new. It's terrifying, but you have to take that risk. You have to take that risk and know that you're worth it, and know that your dreams are worth it, because they are. And so that's what I would say to everybody. Follow your heart.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, that was beautiful. I was going to say something after that, and I was like, no, that was perfect. But that's literally how I feel about even this podcast. And my brother pushed me to do it, and I didn't want to be on camera. I was nervous, and I was like, people are mean. But whenever I meet amazing people like you and other people, like even Courtney, I thank Courtney a lot for just pushing me and so it's nice, because it's just a beautiful new path journey. And I'm meeting amazing people along the way. And if we can use our platform to help inspire and educate and bring awareness to important issues, then you know what? It's okay. I will take the jump. I'll do it.
110%.
And that's exactly what you're doing. 100%. And you're putting out that messaging, everything for millions of people to see, because that's what's going to happen.
And what I would say to everybody watching is adversity never wins. And what I would say is if you do have, especially youngins that I've talked to, and we've all been through this when we're young and we're trying to figure ourselves out, is you're worried about the naysayers or this and that. It doesn't even faze me anymore, because I love and I know and I honor myself. But for those of you that, if you feel or you see any kind of negativity or pressure come your way, just remember that number one, it's a boomerang effect. It comes to you, it bounces off. But number two, those that project negativity upon you are the ones that are suffering within. Send them compassion, send them love, and you're done. So it'll never affect you. If you think of it that way and you have love for all beings, then no matter what, and I especially say this to the youngins out there, because I know teenagers have the hardest time with this, especially in high school. And, it gets better, you guys. It gets better. Life gets better. And just, stay on that loving path, and nothing will faze you.
Awesome. And I will just say this, just to piggyback, when it comes down to high school kids. So what's interesting is, if you're feeling uncomfortable and you're not really feeling comfortable, I would say, in your skin, as you get older, it gets so much easier, because you realize that not everybody has it figured out. And some people, they still have that same mentality like a child, because they haven't challenged or pushed themselves. So they stay in their safe zones, per se. So when you see some of these adults that are twice your age, they're still trying to figure it out too. They're like big kids. But if you push yourself, get out of your comfort zone, do what I'm doing, do what Sarah's doing, seriously, just watch. Wait till the next 10 years and look at all the people we're telling you about, and look. Just an interesting observation about human beings.
You got this.
You got this.
You got this.
But thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.